Commence primary ignition.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Life at Lightspeed podcast. My name is Colin, and today we're here to talk about, of course, you know what, Max Rebo 24/7. Just kidding. We're here to talk about Star Wars. We're here to talk about the new Maul Shadow Lord episode titles. Also, Star Wars returns to Fortnite, which is really, really interesting because last year it did very well, and it's returning not in the same way. So we'll dive straight into it. But before we get started, big shout out to the one, the only, the Virtual Cantina Network. They are phenomenal. Go and check out the QR code. If you are listening to us and watching us on YouTube Live, please subscribe and just tune in for all the craziness that is going to be happening this year. You can also find the Virtual Cantina Network over at MegaCon this weekend. We have some people over there covering the con floor and amongst other things. Go and check that out. And then I will be, and some other people from the Virtual Cantina Network will also be over at C2E2 next weekend. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, here we go. We have the new episode titles for Maul Shadow Lord. It was just dropped a couple of days ago, and adding to this month of March Maulness, Maul Shadow Lord will be dropping on April 6th, 2 episodes every week leading up to May 4th, which is super exciting. So here are the episode titles. On April 6th, we have the Dark Revenge and Sinister Schemes. I love how they're being called chapters. Because, you know, we're so used to that in The Mandalorian and including in the Book of Boba as well. But the first 2 chapters, Dark Revenge, Sinister Schemes. Dark chapter is probably going to be a reflection episode, kind of talking about, you know, of where Maul was, where his headspace is going into this. Sinister Schemes could maybe be Maul kind of putting everything together going forward. For, you know, for the show. And then you have episode 3 and 4, which is Whispers in the Unknown, Pride and Vengeance. April 20th, episodes 5 and 6. Inquisition. It's probably going to have some Inquisitors there. Chapter 6, Night of the Hunted. That will probably also have some Inquisitors involved. Chapter 7 and 8, Call to the Oblivion and the Creeping Fear. These are some really, really interesting titles. Because then you have May 4th, which is episodes 9 and 10, including the actual season finale. So chapter 9 is Strange Allies. So that could be, you know, that could mean a lot of things. That could be him running into a character that we haven't actually seen in the trailers and know that is going to be in the show. It could be Ventress showing up. It could be so many different characters. I'm not saying I want this to be like a huge Easter egg show, but it would be cool to have Ventress and Maul team up, despite their different journeys in their past. So that would be really cool. And then the last episode is just called Finale, which is really, really interesting because I think that's a cover-up name. I think that is not the actual. I don't think that's going to be the name of the title. I think that is just a placement for now. And I think in either episode 8 or on the day, like of the actual day it drops, I think we're going to get the actual title, which is going to be something revolved with Vader. Because I think this whole show is leading up to Maul and Vader fighting, just because going all the way back to Star Wars Rebels, technically fast forwarding to those events in the canon timeline. Maul has this kind of tone when he says, "I can't fight Vader on my own," or he says, and he senses Vader is coming, and you just kind of see a split second of fear in his eyes. And I think that is because of what's going to happen in this finale. I don't think that having the Sith Inquisitors come in is going to work out for them, because we know the future of what happens with Marak, and we know that Maul is more than capable of taking him out. We know what happens to the other Sith Inquisitor as well, because his demise, there you go, is attached with Ahsoka's story that happens in Tales of the Jedi. So we know what happens with those two Sith Inquisitors, but I think they fail. And what happens when Sith Inquisitors, when they can't do the job? They call in Vader. He is the guy. And, we saw this in Star Wars Rebels. We saw that the Grand Inquisitor couldn't do his job, so they sent in Vader. And then he pretty much teamed up with the Inquisitors. He was more on hands with his leadership over them for different episodes and stuff, just overseeing that go on more. And I could just see that happening. I could 100% see Vader showing up. It happened in Legends and the comics. Seeing it in this animation style would be really cool. We already know that the lightsaber fights are going to be fantastic. From what we saw in the trailers, it looks a lot different in a better way than what we've seen in the Clone Wars. And I just love how we have such a huge cast for the season as well. So I'm very, very excited to see. Thank you for everyone watching live. Let me know what you are most excited about for Maul Shadow Lord, and also post in the comments of what you think about the new titles of the titles for these episodes. Once again, chapter 1 through 10, you got The Dark Revenge, Sinister Schemes, Whispers in the Unknown, Pride and Vengeance, Inquisition, Night of the Hunted, Call to the Oblivion, The Creeping Fear, Strange Allies, and then just plain old finale. Again, I don't think finale is going to stick. I really don't think so. But that show comes out on April 6th. Very, very exciting stuff. Side note, Brooke is not here because we are getting ready for C2E2, and Hayden also could not fall asleep. So I'm here solo. That's okay. Because we'll be back after C2E2, and we've got some really, really great news for VCN and also the podcast as well. So stay tuned for that. Speaking of great news, Hayden just turned 10 months. He is doing amazing. He's got 2 of his top teeth, 3 of his bottom teeth. That kid is so close to walking. So close. But yeah, he is doing fantastic. He will not be with us at C2E2, but he will be at the next con over at Motor City. But going back to the news, Fortnite is now doing it's not your traditional kind of event that they did last year. You now have the opportunity, and I'm going to be reading an article here from GameSpot of where Epic Games has launched a brand new ambitious sounding feature for Fortnite, and it's the ability for anyone to make Star Wars inspired islands using the Unreal editor for Fortnite. Enterprising creators can begin making their Star Wars worlds now, while they will be able to publish them to Fortnite's creator portal on May 1st, just ahead of the May 4th Star Wars holiday. I love that so much. I love May 4th so much. Epic also announced a Star Wars game collection page in Discover portal of Fortnite, and Epic will highlight some of the best ones via its Epic's picks. Right now, there are 4 starter islands, and the locations are the Death Star /Space, Tatooine Cantina, Resistance Base, and a variety of pops are available, including you can go to Navarro as well. And then and the tool set, you've got all your classic characters like Luke, Darth Vader, Boba Fett, Chewbacca, the Mandalorian, Princess Leia, Stormtroopers, Jawas, rideable tauntauns are included as well as the vehicles as well. Seriously, it's gonna be so cool. What makes me really excited about this, guys, is that last year the Fortnite gained more people in the realm uh, for Star Wars fans, just because of the big event that they had, and it was successful. So the fact that they're doing this going forward as a permanent thing is really, really cool. I saw online there were a lot of different content creators and other Star Wars fans as well saying that, well, I'm gonna re-download Fortnite now. So there were other comments as well that were saying that now we can make Star Wars Battlefront 3. Star Wars Battlefront 3 is something that I think almost every Star Wars gamer fan wants. It's like, seriously, I mean, come on. So, with that being said, I am very optimistic of what this is going to bring. I think this is going to bring a lot of different fans in. I think that this is great for the gaming community, because we've been really, really wanting more games of Star Wars as of late. Right now, the only Star Wars game officially announced coming out this year, well, actually two technically, would be Zero Company and Galactic Racer. We don't know exactly when those games are coming out, but we are excited nevertheless. But yeah, so that's really the big Star Wars news. It's crazy to, think about that right now. This is kind of like the calm of the storm, because once April hits, it's going to be Maul nonstop leading up to May 4th. And then May is going to be the giant month of Star Wars. You have the end of Maul Shadow Lord. You have the stuff happening with Fortnite. You have the Mandalorian and Grogu. You probably have some other Star Wars announcements that they haven't even hinted at yet. Because as we all know, May is always the big month of Star Wars. So it is very, very exciting to think about what this year has to offer, even more than what's been announced. But not only that, think about how crazy next year is going to be, because Star Wars Celebration is going to be fantastic as always, but it marks the 50th anniversary of Star Wars altogether, leading all the way back to 1977 when that first film appeared. So there's a lot to look forward to within the next couple of years. You got Starfighter, you have all these games coming out. I'm actually kind of hoping, it's kind of a pipe dream, but I'm hoping that Galactic Racer comes out on May 4th. That would just be so cool. And then for the Mandalorian Grogu, it's going to be really cool because you've got a bunch of the different, garrisons in the 501st that will be trooping at theaters. We are specifically doing something really, really, really cool at our theater that I am working on. So stay tuned for that if you're in the Grand Rapids, Michigan area. But yeah, so very, very exciting stuff. But if you are going to be at C2E2 next weekend in Chicago, there is Mosh Isley, and not just Mosh Isley, it's just a giant convention full of just different fandoms. There is going to be a big Star Wars area over there. I can't wait to be hanging out with my Star Wars family and some of my incredible, wonderful best friends over there, just to talk about Star Wars, wear Star Wars costumes, and just have a good time. And then in May, you got Space Dive, which is always incredible. If you don't know what Space Dive is, you're missing out. Space Dive is basically a Star Wars Renaissance fair on steroids. And it's in Michigan. It's 2 weekends. You will see Chewbacca there, aka me. I will be there, and some other fun surprises around the corner as well. This is also my droid for C2E2. This is also my droid's first big convention, so I'm really, really excited about that. But yeah, so there you go. Go and check out the VCN, Virtual Cantina Network. If you're watching live, go and click that QR code. It's going to show a bunch of the upcoming events that we have. Boonta Eve over at Rebel ScumCon. They have a huge lineup. They are still announcing guests. It's going to be awesome. I will be there. Brooke will be there. Virtual Cantina Network will be there, and we'll be covering the entire con, doing interviews, having fun, and just being with a bunch of people that just love this franchise so much. So, um, we'll we'll see you there for that. And then also for 143 days, I am doing 143 Mandoverse facts. I've been doing that since the beginning of January. It's been great. I'm going to be dropping fact 80 tomorrow, which is absolutely insane. It's just a bunch of different facts that you may or may not know about the Mandoverse. That includes season 1 through 3 of The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Skeleton Crew, and Ahsoka. So if you love Star Wars and you love facts, go and check that out. That is on our TikTok, Life at Lightspeed, and podcast, and then also my Instagram, Blue Harvest, at Blue Harvest, no E in the vest. But yeah, there you go. Thank you so much for listening. May the force be with you forever and always.